Hey, this is Tom Hazard from Ellison, and you're watching CMS TV.
And we are back right here on Chris Aiken Presents. And what you think of that, Eric? That was pretty good,
I like
right?
it, man. As I've said on other episodes, I'm a fan of like Avenged Sevenfold, and that
Sure.
almost has a kind of vibe like that. In some of that, what you were just playing, like I
Yeah.
think fans of that would also like his band.
No, he nice guy. First time I've ever interviewed him. Nice guy.
He was really cool.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely cool and good for him. I don't know if you're not really a Bay Area thrash guy, are you?
Well, in the sense, I loved all the OG Bay Area
Yeah.
thrash bands from the '80s.
See, I'm definitely both sides of it. I was so fortunate to be living out there right at the right time. I was out there from when was I out there? 90 to 92. So it
Mm-hmm.
was right when it was after the Metallica crush, but
Right.
it was right at the height of Death Angel, Forbidden, those types of bands, and obviously it blossomed later into other bands that I love. I love all Bay Area. There's something about the Bay Area that just resonates with me. Even like bands like Machine Head or Skin Lab or bands like that. I just love. It is my go-to music when I'm in the mood for metal. I go to those types of bands, and Death Angel was always one of my favorites. So for me, just hearing him telling stories about playing with the Death Angel guys, that's just plain cool.
Yeah, Death Angel was one of those bands where I do remember playing one of their riffs too when I was a
Sure.
kid. When I was 15. That song "On Board."
Oh yeah.
Board. That was a fun song.
Hell yeah, it was. See, Joe Rico says Skinner has more of an old school Sanctuary vibe. Okay.
That was a cool band, Sanctuary.
Yeah, that's a good reference too. Yeah, I mean, maybe some of his older stuff. The new record sounds very modern. It does, but it's very diverse. It's definitely
Right.
not.
It's even
It's
got
def-
some Swedish metal vibes.
It does.
A
It
little.
absolutely does. It has a lot of interesting guitar work in it. Guitar, not picking, but what do you call that when they down tune but still do like sharp soloing or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's called, but that's
That's
what
called the Nickelodeon scale, Chris.
You know what? You're going to tell me that. I'm going to say that to somebody, and they're going to be like, "What are you, a fucking moron? The Nickelodeon scale?" Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, right after my arpeggio SpongeBobio. It's like I'm sure that's what I'll get the minute that I reference that. But good
Sound
guy.
like he liked my store, my thrift store. He wanted
He did. He
one of the
did.
pimp hats.
I guess we'll find out if Bella from Plush shops at the thrift store. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
well,
not. I'm
she
thinking,
should, because I forgot how fun it was. I'll tell you, when I was a kid in the '90s,
yeah.
I was all about thrift stores, and that was like before they became a hip thing.
Okay.
This was, the Seattle scene was pretty big at the time, and flannels and combat boots and things like that were popular. Ripped up shorts and this, and we found all that stuff back then. And somewhere in the '90s, they realized that stuff was cool. I think by the time eBay had started and people started reselling
Mm-hmm.
some of that vintage stuff, and there was a demand. I think one of the first things was Levi's jeans were big, like overseas. So stores started like figuring it out and setting stuff aside and marking stuff up. It's
Right.
not. There are still fantastic deals at thrift stores, but some of the stuff, like when you go to Goodwill,
Mm-hmm.
they are charging something for it. For like
Sure.
a button shirt will cost you like 12 or 13, but you're there and you're looking at the quality, and some of this stuff is great quality. Some
Yeah.
of it still has price tags on it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the thrift store, what inspired this, we've been watching a lot of what Susan wants to watch lately.
Okay. Sure. Do you want to get into this now? Because Bella's waiting for us. So.
She's waiting. Oh, okay. I thought, okay, we could do this after.
We will do this after because I do not want to keep what to me is a big star. May not be to everybody, but as everybody knows, my favorite new band of the last 2 or 3 years has been Plush, and not a secret.
I guess we could put my thrift store story on hold.
We'll put it on. So we'll put your thrift store story on hold so that I can wax poetic about Plush because as everybody that listens to me, especially on CMS, knows, I've been friends with Mariah for a lot of years.
Are you sweating? Are you sweating right now?
Very nerved up. No, but I'm super excited to have Bella on to talk about the new single, new Plush album, maybe. I don't know what the story is there. I know something was recorded. We will find out about that. And we'll find out about her brand new website and guitar lessons and blah, 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 blah. Bunch of stuff. So let's do this. Let me play what is arguably a piece of my favorite song by Plush. And then we will be right back with Bella Perron of Plush. Right after this, it is Chris Aiken Presents.
Doesn't matter 'cause I lose at the end of the day. These feelings are so real. Wish I was made of steel. I could reflect all the pain and the guilt and the shame and the bullets you shoot at me. I feel like giving in. I wasn't made for this, but I can't keep letting you win. This time you will not win. You will not torture me, mess with my sanity. Trap me in a box, lock it up, lose the key. There's darkness everywhere. How do I get out? I'm scared. I'm afraid I'll keep losing at the end of the day. These feelings are so real. Wish I was made of steel. I could reflect all the pain and the guilt and the shame and the bullets you shoot at me. I feel like giving in. I wasn't made for this, but I can't keep letting you win. This time you will not win.
And we are back right here on Chris Aiken Presents. And right now we are presenting this young lady here, Miss Bella Perron. Bella, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good, real
Doing
good.
awesome. Hi, Bella.
So thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you the most important question since we were just talking about it. Eric's background is obviously a thrift store. Do you shop in thrift stores?
I just hopped in a couple minutes ago, but I want to hear the thrift store story.
Go right ahead, Eric.
Well, my lady, Susan, has been watching a show about thrifting that got her inspired. And this past weekend, we went on a full-blown thrift store extravaganza. That was a lot of fun. She got a ton of cool stuff. I'm going to look up right now the name of this show so you guys can check it out. Let me see here. One sec.
This is very organized.
Oh, here we go. It's called B. Jones Style.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. That
B.
sounds
Jones
awesome.
Style, and it's she's an Orange County woman that goes to thrift stores, and she has a slender physique, so she can kind of put on anything and make it work. Where not everybody can do that, but she has fun at these stores and throws on all different kinds of outfits there. And Susan got excited about thrift store shopping, so we hit a couple places. We got all kinds of cool stuff. I got something really, I don't know if people are going to laugh at it or what. A flight suit.
A flight suit?
Sick.
Fucking flight suit.
Where else are you going to find a flight suit?
I bought a real legit onesie.
Now, what are you going to do with it?
I'm gonna wear it on stage.
You should.
At something, maybe a festival or something. It looks kind of sexy. I mean, it has it's a onesie, so like the zipper comes down, and I flop up the collar, and I don't know, it kind of works.
I can't wait to see a Stephen Piercy video and you on stage with a flight suit on.
Flight suit. He might like it. I don't know. But maybe
you
I'll
might be
take a
fired
photo.
too.
It's worth a
Maybe.
shot.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot.
So I guess
I
the
got this
question,
shirt.
Bella, is
I
do
got this
you
shirt.
shop at thrift stores?
I do once in a while. Usually, if we have an off day on tour, usually my two things are look for record stores or thrift shops.
Sure.
And it's a
Mhm.
lot easier to throw thrifted clothes in my suitcase than vinyl. So I end up thrifting more than, getting records. But yeah, here and there, I want to get more into it. Like I'm in Maine right now and I'm home, and I feel like the thrifting here is like
Do
not
you
as
have a
good as
Goodwill? Is there a Goodwill of Maine that those stores that
there
people
is.
donate their clothes
Yeah.
to?
There's definitely
Right.
a few. I feel like I need to just be more on top of it, like scoping them out.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, especially now. Like, there's so much crap in stores because their inflation and everything. They're still trying to keep their prices cheap, so the quality is taking a super big dip. And
Mhm.
for a fraction of like, or what one new item would cost, you could go to a thrift store and buy like 3 or 4 cool things that you could wear potentially for that. What one new item would be, and you find eclectic stuff there. Awesome stuff sometimes. I mean, there's people that have vintage stuff from anywhere from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and all of a sudden they pass away. The stuff just gets donated and ends up at a place. Half the stuff I bought still had, hold on a second.
You didn't know you were walking into this, did you?
No, but I'm so here for it.
Look at this.
Oh, sick.
Okay. This still had the price tag on it. That still has it's a Volcom
Really?
shirt. This was like $4. Oh no. Actually, I think it was actually more like $15, but it was brand new. And you can't get a shirt. This is pretty good quality. I got a blazer for $7.
Oh, nice.
You could totally punk that up.
Oh, yeah. I like the challenge of it. Like, how can I turn this into an outfit? Or like, how can I wear it on stage?
Even t-shirts, like they have such cool vintage t-shirts that you would definitely nowadays they charge like $25 if you were to buy from a department store, like some music t-shirt. They're here, and they're not in bad shape. They don't really put stuff out there that's too beat up. It's not like that just doesn't make it to the showroom floor basically at these places.
Right.
Right. Nice.
We had a great time. The only weird thing we did was we decided to walk to the last one. There's one that's like 3 miles away, and we thought to stay in shape, we would burn some calories and walk to this, which was the worst idea.
Really?
Because that's 6 miles, round trip, and our feet were
Oh.
killing. We were carrying a bunch of shit.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be a lot tougher once you're carrying stuff too.
Yeah, I had like a flight suit. I had a blazer. I had multiple shirts. I was like Santa Claus going down the coast highway.
That's awesome.
A homeless
Too
Santa
funny.
Claus.
Nice. All right. Well, let's pull this around to the reason you're actually here, which is to talk about a myriad of things. We'll start with Plush, and then we'll get to your website and guitar lessons and all this other good stuff. But I have had the pleasure of seeing you guys play twice now. I saw you both times in Cleveland. First time with Wolfie, the second time with Seven Dust, and the difference in the band from I think the Wolfgang gig was like the second gig you'd ever played.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 200 gigs later or whatever it was, by the time you got to Seven Dust, it was like a completely different band. So for you, how do you feel as far as the growth, not only of the band, but of yourself and the way you perform? Because I'll tell you, the first show, you kind of were standing there. It's almost like you were nervous. And then, and then Seven Dust is, jumping off the drum risers and doing kicks and throwing picks out at people and stuff. You were like totally at home at that one. So talk a little bit. Let's start there. Talk a little bit about the growth on this amazing run of tours that you guys have had.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much for coming to shows. Like, I super appreciate it. And it's been wild just, I feel like too, as a super like young band and a new band getting, like we're so thankful for the opportunity to have been kind of thrown in the deep end of like all of a sudden you're touring at 19 and it's like, how are you going to handle things like, well, all of a sudden what's your stage presence? Like, how do you guys interact as a live band? And it's been super cool to see how that grows over time. And yeah, I think it was like a year and a half apart, those two shows. So
Right.
like by the time we're on Seven Dust, it felt like, we're operating as a unit and everyone's kind of on the same page and everyone kind of grows into their own kind of dynamic on stage and like musically too. So it's been super like really interesting and inspiring to see. I feel like us as like a band, everyone kind of growing and especially going into record new music now, just how different it is from like doing the first album.
Sure. Well, talking about let's talk about the tours for a minute because I have on all of the different shows that I do, I have talked about this ridiculous show schedule that you guys have had. Not so much that the schedule, I mean, the schedule has been pretty brutal for you guys too. It seems like every time you go, it's like 28 shows in 30 days or some crazy fast amount of, which, you know, that's a lot, but it's the bands that you guys have opened for, Wolfgang Van Halen and Slash and Seven Dust and Alice in Chains and Bush and Hailstorm and Evanescence, and I mean there are a million bands that would give everything they have for one of those tours, and you guys had them come back to back to back to back to back. Was that a good? Obviously, it's a good thing because you're out in front of a bunch of people that wouldn't see you. But for you on a personal level, is it a good thing or is it kind of a, this was cool, but I didn't really get to appreciate it because it came so fast and so one after the next after the next?
It was incredible, honestly, like just such a wild ride. And it's still kind of one of those things where it's like you'll stop and look back and like, oh yeah, that really did happen. Like I wasn't just kind of making that up in my head.
Right.
Like I felt like every day of the Slash tour, especially, I'm like, this is my life right now. This is pretty weird. Like I love it. But yeah, it's definitely like just like a crazy growing experience too, going from not touring at all to like back-to-back tours and getting to open up for so many bands that we all grew up loving, like just super surreal and like so many like really like wild full circle moments too, like opening up for like so many bands like I'd like gone to see as a kid, or like the Slash tour, like, you know, I had cut school once with my mom. Like my mom took me to Boston to go see him, and now we're like opening for him at the same venue. It's like just so many crazy things like that, you know. I would never in a million years would think would happen.
Right. Has mom been really supportive of everything, or is she worried about
coolest,
you a lot?
Yeah. Yeah, both my parents have been so supportive, and it's been, yeah, just a wild ride.
Well, your dad's in the business too, right? Or in some sort of the music business, right?
Yeah, he owns a music shop and he plays in a bunch of I think it's like right now it's always changing, but like 5 local bands at the moment.
Oh geez.
So like growing up, he was running a recording studio out of our basement. So it was always music all the time.
Right
Oh, that's
on.
awesome.
Well, for you as a guitar player, it's easy to say being able to go out and watch Slash play every night had to be a highlight. But again, and again, I go back to this crazy amount of talent that you guys have played with, you know, and even just had the opportunities to meet. Like I saw pictures of you and Joe Perry, and I was like, wow, that's Joe Perry. You know, it's like,
yeah, it's just been totally, yeah, like so unexpected, and we're all just so grateful for all the crazy experiences. Like the Joe Perry show was this past April, so
Right.
it's just crazy. Mariah and I, like one of the first things we bonded over was we both love Aerosmith and we love
Right.
Joe Perry and Brad Whitford, and I feel like that's kind of always been something in the back of our minds of like, okay, we have 2 guitar players in this band, we're going to split up parts like that, you know. So getting to meet him, and he's like the nicest person and so supportive. It's just so inspiring to see, like getting to meet, you know, your heroes, and they're really cool people.
Sure.
I missed the part.
Okay.
I missed the part how you guys were put together as a band. I mean, I knew Mariah from doing her videos that were viral with her singing covers and whatnot. But how did you and her meet?
That was, yeah, another crazy story. So she, after doing some covers with our original drummer, like their Barracuda cover went viral, and then from there they were in touch with Pavement Entertainment, and they were managing them. And then they wanted to, you know, fill out the band lineup. So they put out an ad looking for a female guitar player from the Northeast. And I just scrolled across on Instagram one night because Lizzie Hale shared it. And I was like, that's, you know, sounds awesome. So I just,
You're like,
you know,
I'll take a chance, and just
Right,
sent a video of you playing, or just you corresponded. What happened?
I honestly didn't really think anything of it. It was the same week of I had orientation at Berkeley, and I was like, might as well try. I'm going to regret not at least saying hi. So
Right.
I just reached out, introduced myself, and then I sent some like original stuff that I had like released a little while ago. And then from there, it was an audition video, and a few weeks later, I was in New York playing with them, and they kind of just snowballed from there really fast.
Wow.
That's so great.
Is it, or has it been? And again, I know Mariah a little bit, like me and her text kind of regular. But so I know how she sort of is. I don't know her as well as you, obviously. She seems very like she would be not competitive, but very focused. And saying that, I don't understand how she shares guitar parts with you or you with her, because she's an amazing guitar player as well. It's not like she can't play guitar. How
No,
do you
she-
guys figure out who plays what and who plays the lead on this song and rhythm on that song?
It's definitely, I mean, it's really cool working with a band where everyone is super focused, but at the same time, it's never a competition thing within the band. It's always like, oh, like you sound really good playing that part, you take that, or I'll like take this one, or whatever parts we come up with this in the studio. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do that live. It's always just kind of flowed super natural. And she's an amazing guitar player, and it's so much fun getting to play with her.
Sure, definitely. Now let's talk about the member change for a minute. I don't want to get into the whole, you guys aren't making it public, and I'm not going to ask you the question. Obviously Brooke was mega popular. I mean, if you look at her social numbers, they're ridiculous. But then you went to a totally different styled drummer with Faith. Faith is like Brooke. This is me only thinking this, but Brooke very controlled. Like she's very, very controlled player. Faith sometimes reminds me of that drummer on the Muppets where she's just going nuts, and her hair's flying all over. I mean, she's going and hitting like the Morgan from Seven Dust, just hitting as hard as she can and just playing as hard as she can.
It's funny you say that, because sometimes watching her play makes me think of Morgan from Seven Dust.
She hits so hard,
Mhm.
and it is a different style. It definitely added. I read every bit of social media, and I'm sure you guys did too, where a lot of people weren't happy, and then they grew to it once they heard it, because her drumming did change the sound a little bit. It made it a much more thicker, heavier sound. When the change was made, well, let me ask this. How did you find Faith, given that she literally graduated high school and jumps on a plane to go play for Alice in front of Alice in Chains with you guys?
Another just, yeah, random thing. We found her on Instagram. We were looking for like a new drummer, and it was kind of funny because we'd all be, looking at a bunch of people online and, sending like, what do you think of like so-and-so or so-and-so, and all these, so many different drum videos. And we all just kept coming back to Faith's videos. And
Okay.
we weren't even talking about it much. It was just like, I think Mariah had mentioned or something. Like, she keeps popping up like on my For You page. I'm like, this girl's amazing. But I was thinking like, she's in Arizona. She just graduated high school. I don't know. But then we reached out to her, and she's incredible. She learned like the whole album, I think, in a week for a gig.
Right.
And then she flew across the country to New York, and she crushed it that first gig. And she's just been killing it ever since.
Sure.
Wow.
And it's funny you say, well, she had just graduated high school. Well, y'all just graduated high school.
Yeah, I guess the difference is like I graduated 2 years ago, and she was like 2 months ago for her. But we're all fresh out of high school.
Right. That's just
It's like artificial intelligence put them together, in a way. Kept suggesting it's like the algos made it happen. And
It's honestly pretty interesting, like the role social media has played in all of it. It's
Right.
Well, you guys are a legitimate modern band. It's not
Thank you.
the old fashioned way of, well, we got in a room and we jammed and we found it was, you all found yourselves on Instagram and it just worked. That is kind of the new
About
way.
The look of the band. Obviously, all you ladies are beautiful. I mean, you weren't going to get a 50-year-old fat, hairy, sweaty drummer to come in. You skip
Yeah, it was
those in the
definitely
end.
like you got like looking for something to kind of fit the vibe, but kind of like with any band, you need someone that also like can look and play the part, and
Right.
it's-
They had to play good, but yeah, they had also the look was
Mhm.
was a little important. So that helped her.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
I feel like that kind of thing kind of pops up everywhere
Sure.
in any sort
Right.
of entertainment industry,
Pretty
Right.
much.
Any hot
Exactly.
young lady that's playing an instrument well gets a lot of views.
Yeah,
We've
there's a
discussed
rule.
this on earlier shows.
Well, let me.
Chris likes drummers. He likes drumming videos in
I do.
particular,
Well, it's
right?
because I'm a failed drummer.
Right.
If I could play guitar, I'd probably watch guitar videos all the time. But I'm a drummer or a failed. I'm a bad drummer, but I played drums and I wasn't good. But everybody else is better, so it's fun to watch. You know, it's
I get bass video. I mean, I have a little bass amp and bass for when I'm writing songs or whatever, but I'm not primarily a bass player, but it always sends me bass videos. I don't know. It's because
Really?
I just enjoy watching them or what. Maybe I've scrolled on them, but they keep coming my way. And it's amazing the younger and younger artists out there, like yourself, 19 years old, 20 years old, that make us old guys want to pretty much quit, like, really? I mean, it took me a long time. I mean, would you attribute that to growing up with your dad who was a musician, or did the internet play a big role? Were you able to get so much better, so much faster because of all the lessons available to your generation?
Honestly, I think both played a huge role in it. Like, I started playing guitar when I was 5 just because 'cause they're always around the house, and I was
Right.
always listening to rock music, and I was always super encouraged, so I was taking lessons at the store. But then at the same time, I'm, like, always looking up videos on YouTube, like, "Oh, how does this solo, like, work?" Or, "What's this technique?" And always, like,
Right.
researching a bunch of random things, and I feel like
Yeah.
it all kinda combined together to kinda learning so much, I feel like a lot faster than, you know, a not too long ago, it's like you always had to get books to, like, learn tabs, which I
Well,
still love
listen,
it.
Bella, back in the 1900s, we had these magazines. They were called Guitar for the Practicing Musician. And they would have a couple of tablatures in there, and we would have to wait a whole month before we got another one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
day is
it
gone.
prolonged our whole learning experience.
That day is done. Well, Bella, let's talk a little bit about the new music that you guys have recorded. We obviously have Left Behind that's out there now. It's the first taste of the new stuff. What are we getting soon? Whenever, and if you can't say the date, can't say the date. But is there an album or is it an EP, or are you guys just going to go a track here, then another track in 3 months, or what is the plan?
I honestly think we're kinda waiting and just seeing how it goes, like, we need to finish the 2nd album, but, from there, we're kinda figuring out the pacing of when stuff's gonna be released, but
Okay.
we're super excited about how things are starting to sound, like, more modern and more heavier, and I'm stoked to finish the album and have, like, a bunch of, like, new songs to play live too.
Sure. Now, I have to admit, I was very surprised when I saw that you guys moved off of Johnny K and moved over to Zach Malloy, who's one of my favorite guys ever. I love Zach. He's one of the nicest guys, as I'm sure you can attribute to.
Mhm.
He's so nice, and he's got a tremendous ear for music. But so does Johnny. To be fair, so
Oh,
does
yeah.
Johnny. And I have to admit, I was personally surprised because of the success that you guys did have with the debut, that you went a different direction. What was it that led you guys to make the change? Did you see like an opportunity for growth, or did you just want to do something different, or what?
I think it was a little bit of both, wanting to grow as a band and kinda growing into a different sound and kinda chasing more of, like, the modern influences we have as well too, but
Sure.
at the same time, I've loved both experiences, and I love that it's working with both Johnny K and Zach Malloy and Blair Daly too on the recent song. Like, both times, like, I learned so much, and it's honestly just an awesome learning experience getting to work with, such, like, talented and gifted people and kinda, like, getting to, like, pick their brain of, like, what are they hearing for this section or, like, where
Mhm.
direction do they think it should go? Like, I find it super interesting, and it was especially for the new stuff, it was super cool seeing it all come together super fast, which, yeah, I'm so excited to be able to get more music out soon.
Sure. The other question that I have about the writing, when did you guys have time to write? I mean, unless my schedule is crazy, you guys were on tour, then you were off for like 2 weeks, and then Mariah was on tour with TSO for 2 months or 45 days or whatever that was. And then almost immediately there was like, hey, we're in Nashville, we're recording, it just seemed like, well, where does the writing come? Do you write on the road, or did you guys have a couple sessions, or what?
There is a little bit of writing on the road, and then, Mariah leads the way with the writing, so during those off months, that was when, a lot of the new stuff came together, and then, we got sent the ideas and it all ran from there, so I think it was, like, we're in the studio by February, so it's, like, about a month and a half to kinda get everything situated to, like, run in and do Left Behind and some more music.
Right. Very good. Well, obviously, the first taste that we've gotten is Left Behind, much heavier, much. You, as a guitar player, I'm sure you were thrilled when the initial ideas came out. I'm sure you're like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. So, talk a little bit about not only just the overall heaviness, but for you as a guitar player, the different tuning and the different style of playing than anything on the debut.
Well, Chris,
record.
those are my kind of questions, man.
Well, you can
Tuning?
ask too.
Come on. I just taught you the Nickelodeon scale, and now you're getting all high and mighty.
Sorry.
What are you tuned to, Bella? I was going to ask that.
So Left Behind's in drop B.
Okay.
And then, like, Hate Will Not Win, and I Don't Care, I'll drop C, and then the rest of the records drop D.
Are you using baritone guitars for this, or 7 strings, or?
Actually, I'm using like my Ibanez RG 6 strings, but then going into the Digitech drop pedal live. And then in the studio, I was using my Hardtail RG and just tuning down for it. For one of my guitars, I did set up the floating trend to drop B, and that was a bit of a project one day.
How's the Digitech device? How's that holding up?
I love it. I'm honestly still shocked by the accuracy of it. I've been using it, gosh, probably like 3 years now, and it's crazy. It makes it so much easier. So you don't have to retune, especially where, like, at least always one of my guitars are floating trems. Like, I can just use the same guitar and hit a button.
We were talking about that. I've just, well, look, I have my clothes on here. Hold on. This guitar, like, I had to finally put a trem stop in there.
Oh, nice.
I couldn't deal with the floating. It was just sucking too much time out of my life getting guitars set up for gigs. I know you probably don't sweat like a pig like I do, but it's just, I have to change my strings pretty much like every 2 or 3 shows. And it was just taking so much time to get it when it's in a floating position. It was driving me nuts. So I finally, this weekend, went in there, cleaned all my Floyd Rose tremolo systems up. I had to go take all the saddles off and oil them up. And
oh wow, deep clean.
Deep clean, full blown. I've had these Charvels for probably like 2 or 3 years, and I guess that's the point where they start not working properly. Like the mechanisms start freezing up from the sweat or drying up or whatever. And so I had to spend a lot of time doing that. I'm not used to playing these types of guitars. Most of my career, I had like Les Pauls and Telecasters, and then just in the last couple of years, switched to doing the tremolo. But do you have someone to help you with that stuff when you're on the road, or do you do it all yourself? Do you take care of your own guitars?
It varies. Like, for most tours, we've had someone that usually helps with like my rig as well as Mariah and Ashley's. But this past tour, I was teching for myself, and I loved it. I'm always into like tinkering with my gear and like having time to work on my guitars in the green room and whatnot.
Right. Did he teach you how to like handle all this stuff years ago? Like you.
Yeah, I'd be like a kid in the store, and it'd be like, all right, here's a setup like a customer dropped off, like figure it out,
Nice.
It was like awesome.
You were like blindfolded, like you were in some kind of like special forces. Okay, now assemble the guitar blindfolded.
It's like we'd have a guitar like on like the dining room table. It's like, all right, if like you're in a bar someday and you're playing a set, you break a string, you go as fast as you can, type of deal.
He's throwing shit at you like to get ready for if the people were like heckling you.
I don't think they've had that problem yet, Eric.
Thankfully not.
Very good. Well, Bella, tell us the other big news for you is that you've just launched this new website, which profiles pretty well everything that you're up to and offers guitar lessons, and there's a bunch going on there. So tell us about the new website.
Thanks. I'm super excited about it. I feel like it was just kind of a next step for me, whereas online, like I really only had social media. So I figured kind of have a more formal setup, just saying like what I do. And I'm super excited to be offering guitar lessons now. It's something I've been thinking about, like kind of on the fence about wanting to do for like about a year. Like I've taught in the past a little bit when I'm home, and I've really liked it. So I, just like keeping my schedule super, super busy, so I'm
Right.
stoked
Yeah.
about that.
You could do this online now. I mean, the lessons, you don't even have to leave your house to go anywhere to teach them, right? I mean, it's all, you have the technology just right from your room there, right? I mean,
Exactly. It's pretty crazy. Like, when I was going to college, it was in 2020 and 2021, so everything was remote,
Way back then in 2020,
right?
21.
A hot minute ago, but I've
lifetime ago.
learned so much all on Zoom. So like,
Right.
especially, it's crazy what you can do with technology now.
Yeah.
So will
I
you
I
offer?
taught.
Oh, go ahead, Eric. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm stepping all over Chris tonight.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I do recall, teaching back, 10 or 15 years ago, and they would like pay me like a set amount, and I'd have to show up there like 4 times a month and like actually drive out to the kid's house and stuff, and it was kind of a pain. Uh,
A lot
I
of
should
commuting.
right. Now it's like anything I could do, at home is welcomed, like this show, for example.
There you go.
Right? It's like fun, and all you have to do is open your laptop. I'm so here for it.
That's it.
That's right.
Well, with guitar lessons, let me ask you this: is it strictly Zoom, or can people purchase the, I don't know, at the show or at sound check? You could get the guitar lesson thing, or is that
I honestly haven't thought about that. That's an awesome idea. I mean, I've been thinking like when I'm home, like I'm,
well,
at
you're
the
never
shop.
home, is why I'm asking.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, so I launched it now. I'm like, I'm home for a month. This is kind of odd. Now's the time to do it. But no, that's a super cool idea. I'm definitely, still adding a bunch of things to the website and
Sure,
totally open-minded to new ideas and changing things around. So
certainly.
definitely stuff to consider.
That's right. Well, you guys are, Plush is, you're getting ready to do a handful, not a full tour. It doesn't seem like yet, but you're doing a larger than a handful amount of headlining dates. Talk a little bit about that. What all will you be playing? And do you have an hour and a half of material?
We do. We've reached that point now, which is
Okay.
pretty awesome. So we have, the first record and then Left Behind, and then for the headlining show, that's kind of putting together all the different covers we've thrown in the sets.
Sure.
So kind of piecing that all together right now. So it's pretty crazy to be thinking about, playing hour and a half of like mostly original music now. So we're all super excited about it.
Congratulations. That's great.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I have to bring up, I'm going to go back to social media for a minute, just because I just saw this the other day, and I know you guys are, if not all 4 of you, I know 2 or 3 of you anyway, are huge Kiss fans. How exciting was that to have the video that somebody put up of you guys covering Kiss, and then Paul Stanley saying, "Yeah, this is cool," or whatever he said? That's like, that's just the coolest thing, right?
Yeah, that was like just another pinch me moment. Like I started playing guitar because of Kiss. Like most for me, it's like Ace Frehley just looks like the coolest person ever. Like, of course I want to do that, And so the whole Kiss cruise, I'm like geeking out. They have like some of the outfits there, and like
Right.
like you could see the Kiss coffin. I'm like, I'm so here for this. And then seeing him without the makeup, I was having like the time of my life. But then seeing him like retweet it was just crazy. Like we had tossed around the idea of doing a Kiss cover, and of course I'm like in my element, like suggesting all these songs, and
Right.
it was fun getting to do Heaven's on Fire. Like I think we did it every night of the tour.
Yeah. Well, how was that tour, by the way? It was a fan competitive tour in the most unique way. I just noticed the Warning fans, God love them, but they want to see the Warning, and and your fans kind of. It seemed like there was more like confrontation a little bit with the fan community than I had seen with you guys ever before, and not in a bad way. I'm not trying to say that either side was saying screw Plush or screw the war. It wasn't like that, but it was definitely a lot of well, the Warning kicked ass. Somebody would put a post of, well, Plush was great tonight, and then somebody put, yeah, but the Warning kicked ass. And it was like, okay, we got it. You're a Warning fan, okay, So how was that tour for you guys?
I loved it. Honestly, it was super cool going out with another all-female band, and also we had Holy Wars opening, like a female-fronted band, and just super cool. Of like we had never toured with other bands that are like about the same age as us.
Mm-hmm.
So it was super cool of like touring with people that have similar experiences, and like in that regards of like just starting touring and being new to this. I think it was like their first U.S. headline tour.
Right.
So it was super cool, and like with everyone coming to the shows and stuff, thought it was so interesting that like at the beginning of the show, I kind of caught that vibe of like they're here for the warning or whatnot, but then everyone would be so into our sets and like it would be a total blast on stage. It was kind of crazy. Like after every show we'd go to merch and then so many people come up and be like, yeah, I didn't know who you guys were. I was coming for the warning, but
Sure.
like also liked your set. So I thought it was cool how it had like that awesome crossover of like, I feel like a lot of people that, didn't know of us, were also into us because we're kind of similar to the warning.
Sure. Well, and the unique thing is you guys have had to do that over and over again. That's not new. I mean, I don't imagine many of the Slash people knew a whole lot about you guys, or Seven Dust, or Alice in Chains. I mean, it's a different, and you guys are young. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is, an Alice in Chains fan is 40 to 50. They're your dad's age or probably older than your dad, and
How old is your dad, Bella?
He's actually turning 50 next week.
Oh my God, he's my
I
age.
would be mad if I said that, but
so old. I'm 54. But no, it's I had asked Mariah this once, and I'll ask you the same question. What is more fulfilling for you guys on stage when you get out there and people know the music from the word go, from the minute you start, or when everybody's there, arms crossed, who's this that's holding up me seeing my band, and then you win them over? Which is better for you?
I mean, I love both. I feel like no matter what, if you're ending the set with the majority of the room into it, and you can just look out and tell people are having a good time, that totally makes it for me. So it's like, if we start that way, or that's more of a middle of the set towards the end type of thing, either way, I love it,
Right. You're just happy that people are there, right?
Oh yeah.
Very nice. Well, let me see. I think I got it. What am I missing that you want people to know?
You can head to plushrocks.net for all the upcoming shows this summer, and definitely stay tuned for new music soon.
Very good.
And where do they go for guitar lessons? Make sure we know that too.
It's bellaperron.net.
There you go.
There you go.
Absolutely. And what does a guitar lesson cost from bellaperron.net?
Currently it's $40 for a half hour.
That's cheap. That's way cheap.
You have to raise that up.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
We'll see. I gotta build some credibility at this first.
Got to book a few before you can raise it, right?
Exactly.
Very good. Well, Bella, it's great talking to you. And as I'm sure you heard me say, Plush is a band that I plug to death and have been for.
Thank you.
I have been plugging the band since it was Mariah singing videos, or when it wasn't a band.
Right.
So I love it. I love that you guys are doing well, and I will say this one more quick thing, and you can comment on this as well. A unique thing about following your band, and it's probably not as unique today because I'm sure that more and more bands are doing this, but it's unique that as somebody that became a fan of the band, I can really follow it. Like, you guys are super, super active on social, all four of you, very, very active on social media, and not just here's a gig, here's a video, go. It's, you guys goofing around in the hotel rooms, and you guys, videos of you guys walking around towns and different stuff. It's all out there, and it's almost like, as an old head, that, we would see a magazine once a month with 2 pictures of Motley Crue, and that was us following the band. It really is a unique insight into what it takes to grow as a band that older people did not get. And again, it's the modern age, but it's a cool look.
Oh, well, thank you. That's definitely something we've kind of always strived for, is like, at least with social media and stuff, just being transparent and like not trying to act a certain way for the image or anything. Like, it's just us and we're having a good time, just enjoying every second of this.
Right.
Wait till you're 50, then you'll be like, oh, that doesn't don't put that. Like right now, everything you do is good. You can just put it all out there.
Nice. Well, Bella, I figured we would wrap this up by playing a little bit of Left Behind, since that is the current single. So one more time, give the plugs out so where people can follow you, follow Plush, get tour dates, all that stuff.
Awesome. Well, you can get all the tour dates at plushrocks.net. And on Instagram, the band is Plushrocks, and my handle is bella.perron. And then my website is bellaperron.net. And then Facebook, it's Plush Official and Bella Perron.
Excellent. Well, Bella, thanks so much for joining us here on Chris Akin Presents.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Bella, we will talk again soon.
Sounds great.
All right, Bella, take care.
Thanks, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
A little too loud and a lot to say. Don't look like you don't think you weigh. The faceless, the nameless, the fight with no quit. Disruptors, corruptors, as sick as we get. We are the left behind, forgotten and undefined. Love us to hate us, will never break us. Stand at the end of the line. We are the left behind, and won't be left behind. We're the cast out of society, one big twisted family. Usually the unusual, we're all blacked out like a funeral.